when Sophia said those words. "We're just friends. Deal with it." She said them with that same defiant smirk she always used when she wanted to end an argument. It wasn't a plea for understanding. It was a dare, a challenge. And for the first time in our 2-year marriage, I didn't argue. I didn't shout. I didn't beg her to see my point of view. I simply nodded, walked away, and decided to let her live with her choices while I made mine. Our marriage had been crumbling slowly, piece by piece. The laughter that once filled our tiny apartment had been replaced with tension and silence. Sophia had started spending more time out with friends, and one name had begun appearing more often than the rest. Caleb, her co-worker, the one she swore was just a friend. I'd seen the texts, the subtle smiles, the inside jokes I wasn't part of. I had asked gently at first if there was something I should know, but she always rolled her eyes, brushing it off like I was paranoid. That night, after her dismissive remark, something inside me shifted. I realized I had been trying to hold together something that only I seemed to care about anymore. So instead of trying to win her back, I simply stopped trying at all. I focused on my work, my fitness, and unexpectedly my own peace. And that's when Olivia, Sophia's younger sister, started dropping by. First, it was innocent. She came to pick up things Sophia had left, or to check in on how I was doing. Olivia had always been the quieter one, thoughtful, grounded, with a kind of calm energy that felt like a balm to my worn-down soul. She listened, really listened, without judgment or interruption. She saw the exhaustion in me before I even admitted it to myself. As weeks passed, our conversations grew deeper. We'd sit on the balcony late at night talking about everything and nothing. There was never an agenda, never tension, just connection. She made me laugh again in that effortless way that reminded me of who I used to be before the emotional tug-of-war with Sophia had drained me. And one evening, when Olivia stopped by with takeout after a long day, something in her eyes lingered, something neither of us wanted to acknowledge, but couldn't ignore anymore. That night felt different from all the others. Maybe it was the way Olivia hesitated at the door, or how her voice softened when she asked, "Are you okay? Really?" I remembered nodding, but I wasn't. Not entirely. Something about the warmth in her gaze stripped away the wall I'd built since Sophia started pushing me out of her life. We ate dinner in silence for a while, until she laughed about a memory from our wedding. How she had caught Sophia flirting with a groomsman even that night. It stung to hear, but Olivia wasn't being cruel. She was just being honest. And that honesty was something I hadn't experienced in a long time. For months, Sophia had been twisting truth into something that always made me look insecure or controlling. But with Olivia, there was no performance, just reality. We talked for hours that evening about family, about mistakes, about what it meant to feel unwanted by someone you gave everything to. There was no flirting, no boundary crossed, just two people who were tired of pretending that everything was fine. When she left, she gave me a soft smile and said, "You deserve peace. You know that." Her words echoed in my head all night. Peace. Something so simple. Yet something Sophia had turned into a luxury. The next day, Sophia came home late again. She smelled like expensive perfume. Her makeup was flawless, and her laugh had that fake sweetness I'd learned to recognize. When I asked how her night went, she shrugged. "It was fun. Caleb's hilarious. You should really stop being so uptight about him." I didn't respond. I just watched her walk away, her confidence born from the assumption that I would always stay no matter what she did. But that's the thing about people who push too far. They never realize when they've pushed you past your breaking point. Over the next few weeks, things between us became mechanical, shared space, but no shared life. I stopped asking where she was going or when she'd be back. I didn't want to know anymore. She was too wrapped up in her own games to notice how quiet I'd become. And one evening, as fate would have it, she did notice something. Olivia's car parked in our driveway. Sophia walked in, saw Olivia in the kitchen helping me cook, and her face froze. "What's she doing here?" she asked, her voice sharp. Olivia looked up, calm as ever. "Dinner," she said simply. But the silence that followed spoke volumes neither of us dared to put into words. Sophia stood there staring at us, her eyes narrowing as if she was trying to decode something she couldn't quite grasp. "Dinner here," she repeated like. The word itself was an insult. I didn't answer. I just handed her a plate, calm and deliberate. And for the first time, Sophia seemed genuinely unsettled. She stormed into the living room, muttering under her breath, "Unbelievable." I followed her, not to argue, but to end what had already been dead for months. "You said you and Caleb were just friends," I said evenly, setting down my glass. "And you told me to deal with it, so I did." She turned toward me, confusion flickering across her face. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means I stopped fighting for someone who stopped caring," I replied. "You wanted space. You got it. You wanted freedom. You have it." Her confidence faltered, the mask slipping just a little. "So now you're what? Trying to make me jealous with my sister?" she snapped. I almost laughed. "No, Sophia. I'm just done trying to prove my worth to someone who never saw it." Olivia quietly excused herself, sensing that this was something I needed to say alone. Sophia stood in front of me, arms crossed, trying to hold on to her usual power. But the moment she realized I wasn't angry, just finished, something in her expression cracked. "You can't be serious," she whispered. "I am," I said simply. "Starting now, I'm done pretending we're still a team. You wanted me to deal with it, remember? I did." For once, there was no comeback, no sarcastic remark, just silence, the kind that comes when denial finally collapses under the weight of truth. Over the next few days, she tried to repair the damage. Little gestures, small talk, forced laughter, but I'd already emotionally checked out. The day I packed my bag, she stood by the door, trembling. "Is this really what you want?" she asked. "No," I said honestly, "but it's what you made inevitable." As I walked away, she whispered, "Does Olivia know how you feel?" I paused, looked back and said, "She doesn't need to. She just respects me, something you forgot how to do." Months later, Sophia tried reaching out again. Late-night messages filled with regret, apologies, and excuses. But by then, I had learned the hardest lesson of all. Sometimes losing someone's love isn't a tragedy. It's freedom. And as for Olivia, we never crossed any lines. We just remained two people who saw each other clearly in a house full of lies. But the irony, Sophia lost me not to her sister, but to my peace.